there, it's Hélène again. Welcome back, or if it's your first time, welcome. I'm so glad you joined me today. I'm excited about this topic. I am kind of a fan of packaging, and I thought I would talk about my favorite packaging aspects of makeup, most specifically face and eye palettes, and also what I'm not too keen about and why, with some honorable mentions and some favorites and fails, that kind of thing. So I hope you are going to enjoy this video, and I would really appreciate you telling me what your preferences and drawbacks are for given types of palettes. So let's get right into it. I would like to start with what I don't like and then move into what I do like. Hopefully that works for you. All right, so the first thing that drives me really crazy is packaging that does not have a cover beyond like clear plastic, and of course because of that does not have a mirror. Now I have to say that when it comes to, and it's, you know, it's really cheap. Now when it comes to drugstore stuff, that's usually what we find, right? And that's fine. I understand that there's a certain price point where this is possible or necessary to be able to offer the product at a decent price and still, as a manufacturer and distributor, make money. But some brands do not have this excuse. Natasha Denona Aries palette from the holiday season, holiday collection for 2017. And these are very expensive shadows, and they are in an extremely flimsy packaging, and I'm very annoyed with it. And yeah, it clasps shut with a magnetic closure, thank goodness. But I would definitely not take this with me traveling. I would not trust it. When it comes to these, I take these traveling, but those are $8.99 Canadian when they're on sale, like a piece. Well, this is, I got it on sale for $43, but this is up to $61 Canadian. Totally different kind of cost basis, and it's only 5 shadows for that kind of price. So I'm not impressed with that packaging, nor am I impressed with the Anastasia Beverly Hills lip palette. And I got this lip palette, you'll see it's not used yet. I got this because of the primary colors, and I love doing Halloween kind of, well, I won't say special effects, but pretty neat Halloween makeup, and I can't wait to dig into this this coming fall season. And again, this stupid clear cover. It is terrible packaging. I have no idea why they chose to go with what they went with, and it's a complete head scratcher for me. I mentioned the lack of mirror, and Anastasia did that with the highlighters with no mirror. That really surprised me, and I thought it was really unfortunate. It was kind of a shock, so that's not something that I was too impressed with. And I also felt like the packaging itself was pretty flimsy compared to some of the other Anastasia packaging. Really thin and flimsy. Now, it's very similar, actually, I brought this out too. Very similar to ColourPop. Like, if we compare the cost of the Semi-Precious and of the Anastasia Aurora palette, like, they look like virtually the same packaging, but a completely different product inside. Now, for Semi-Precious, I don't mind because of the fact that this is a far cheaper palette. I have no problem with the product, and if anything, the product is in a package that is sleek and easy to consider taking on the go. Like, for example, maybe this would be the color palette that I bring along with a neutrals palette, such as the Clay Play. This might work just fine. And also, this palette does not have a mirror, but again, for the value, as in the cost with what you get, I'm still happy that it's not a clear cover, that it is a prettier cover compared to the clear plastic covers that I showed earlier. Incidentally, Visart or Viseart, however you say it, I find those palettes super ugly. I understand how They are for makeup artists and they're very utilitarian, but I do appreciate that Vizart or Viseart has provided a prettier type of packaging for the clients who are not makeup artists, who appreciate the aesthetics of makeup and chose to pretty up their packaging for that type of a customer. Now, for some folks who do a very good job of travel palettes, I have to give it to Tarte and to Urban Decay. I love a number of things about the Urban Decay palettes. So they are extremely durable plastic, really love that. They have, and I'm trying not to blind you, they have a mirror and they close securely. So it's not just a metal clasp, they close securely. And because of the way the front is made, it's very easy to open them. Very big fan. And they put in, again, not trying to blind you, they put in as big of a mirror as they possibly could for this palette. I think it's beautiful, it's so well made, and I would always put this in my travel bag. I mean, it's a no-brainer. Really, really well done. And also the plastic casing is not super slippery. It has a little bit of grip to it, almost like there's almost like a little plasticized part of the packaging. Really, really like this. Tarte also does a decent job. Now, not as good as the snapping enclosure, but at least there's some magnetic hold here. I'm not a big fan of the fact that there's a lip here because it opens very easily, but I love the compact size, and it holds a fair number of shadows in a smaller amount from their usual good size palette. Like this would be a smaller version of the Tarteist Pro. You know, I like the shade selection, the fact that there are a number of mattes, a number of shimmers. You can do a lot of different looks. I did take this with me traveling to Guatemala and Belize, and also the mirror is a pretty decent size given the size of the palette itself. So I give this brand a lot of credit for really having a packaging that is good for on the go. Again, just don't like that metal clasp. Staying on with, actually I'm going to give another brand a lot of credit. This is probably the most sturdy packaging. Now this is the Sephora brand. There's I've got 3 of these. This is the best, hardest packaging for travel that I've ever encountered. The challenge is though that it's a little bit on the big side. That's part of why I like the Naked Basic and then the Tarteist Pro to Go. This is bigger, has a substantial, again, a very good closure, has a substantial number of shades. Let's see if I can get you to see this. Yeah. And then a very, very sizable mirror, that as big as the palette could allow. I like it. I just wish it were a little bit smaller if it is for travel, but if it is for kind of an everyday palette, the way the packaging is done is very good. It matches the value of I almost dropped it. The value of the packaging that you would expect from any brand, and this one compared to other brands was very affordable. And I didn't mention it on others, but I really like the fact that the names are on the back. That is super, especially when you have just made all that room for the mirror. Now, one more that I would definitely not have a problem with for travel is Buxom. And Buxom has a lot going for it. The shades are fantastic. It comes with a brush, although it's a really dinky brush. The mirror is as big as the packaging can possibly allow. The packaging closes securely, and the shades pull out on the side, and you can customize. Each one of these shades comes out, and you can customize a palette. So if you have a few Buxom palettes or you have purchased singles, you can really make a palette that is perfect for you to take on the go. There's not much about Buxom that I don't like, and the palettes, because of the size of the mirror compared to the rest of the palette, is very convenient for day-to-day use. It's not an overly small palette. So I think their packaging is the bomb. It is compact for the full 6 full-size shades that are in here. They don't, they make a very good use of the space available, the real estate in the palette. I think their packaging is just really great. One company that I think was doing a lousy job of packaging is Too Faced. I've said it in a previous video, I am not a big fan of the tins. The tins are fundamentally different from the Naked palette tins. They're a lot flimsier in my opinion. And yeah, it's a metal clasp, but it's very weak, and the alignment of the top and the bottom is not 100%. Now, I don't know if it's just because of the type of hinge that they use, but it's in my opinion, really shitty. Also, if I take a look at the mirror in the packaging, the mirror is very small compared to other palettes. The mirror is about the same size as the small Buxom palette, and look at the difference in size on these palettes. Now, Redemption. Too Faced changed its packaging just recently, and they did this for their just peachy palette, and they've also for their naturals, I think, palettes, and I say kudos. It is beautiful. It's the kind of packaging I would love to just put out and kind of as a display. And the mirror is the same size as the palette. That is so, so well done. I am very impressed with what they did with this. Also, there is a very good magnetic closure on it, and I'm thrilled that they moved to better packaging hopefully going forward. And to me, they really mimicked a great deal what the Tartelette palettes are like. Now, the Tartelette palettes don't have a magnetic closure. They actually have a clasp, which I don't mind. I actually find that even more secure. And again, they have a nice big mirror. Moving on, I'm just going to talk about a case that has all of the things that I talk about, but I really dislike. Tartiste Pro Glow, and it has a feature that is a big reason why the Kat Von D, was it the last holiday palette that looks like a church doors opening, why I really did not like the packaging on that Kat Von D holiday palette. And that is this idea of it opening from the sides like that. I really dislike that. What's with a mirror on one side and then the other? The mirrors are, I mean, the mirror's really small for the size of the palette. Which mirror do you use? It's just not convenient. And what I do like about this palette, and some other palettes have that, is the weight. I'm trying to look at other palettes that are here. I don't see, I think maybe some of them have a decent amount of weight, like the Just Peachy, the Tartelette. I like the kind of weight, and for cardboard packaging, it feels quite sturdy, quite nice. But the opening off onto in the middle, I don't understand it, because that's not what they typically do. One face palette that does it well, the Cover FX face palettes, it has a little tab here. It's a magnetic closure, but on the side, it's not as easy to open because the flap is protected, so it's not going to flip open like, for example, the Tartiste Pro To Go. And so you pull on the tab, and there's the product. Now, the mirror is smaller on this one, but I'm not so concerned about it because of the fact that it is a face palette. I don't know, for some reason, to me, if you have a face palette, you've also brought an eyeshadow palette. And so the fact that the mirror is not so big is not a big deal. The Anastasia Beverly Hills Blush Kit is similar, as is the Afterglow palette from Urban Decay. Same thing, the quads. I like the fact that quads are set up like this in a palette for travel. The fact that it's a square is very convenient. Shades again on the back. Now, there's no clasp here. It's again a metal, just a magnetic closure. Not as great as that flap from the Cover FX palette, but the fact that the product really fills up most of the space is nice as far as I'm concerned. Again, not crazy about the mirror, but usually a face palette says that there is an eyeshadow palette kicking around, and probably you have access to a bigger mirror, so I'm fine with that. I don't have a big issue with the cardboard packaging relative to metal. Do I prefer metal or plastic? Do I prefer metal or plastic? Yes, but depending on the pricing of the product, I can kind of let it go, especially when it's products that I don't tend to bring traveling. Like I'm not as likely to bring a blush palette traveling. Although I have to say this packaging, even though it's cardboard, is more sturdy. Speaking of cardboard packaging, Tarte again does it right. Big mirror. And then the shadows are in a very nice metal enclosure within the cardboard packaging, and it's beautiful front and back, and I'm very partial to this palette, especially since it has pretty much everything I need, face products as well as eyeshadows, and that is phenomenal. So even though it's a bigger palette, this is one that I would consider bringing for travel, just because of how versatile it is. I really think it's a nice palette. Now, just like the Tartiste Pro To Go, I'm not a fan of the fact that there's that lip here and just a magnetic closure. A clasp closure would be better, but that would not prevent me from bringing it for travel. Now, one company that has done it really well for the robustness of their packaging is Smashbox, and this is one of their smaller ones, but they also have the Shape Matters full face palette. So you've got your face products, you've got your eyeshadows, and you all even have your brow products. And so in this case, this is all eyeshadows, but a very good array of eyeshadows, pretty much for any look, includes a brush, and the mirror is as big as they can possibly offer for the size of the palette. I like the size of the palette. It is a magnetic closure, but it's actually quite sturdy and strong. And the packaging itself, I mean, I would have zero issue throwing this into a makeup bag for travel, just because of just how sturdy this packaging is. It's very impressive, and it feels like just about the most solid packaging that is available. I also do appreciate that makeup is artistic, and so should packaging be. And Urban Decay has some of the most creative, innovative packaging that I've seen, from the Spectrum palettes to the various color palettes. I've mentioned the Naked, how I think that is such a neat palette. I think the Naked Heat was also aesthetically superb. And I have to say, I'm very partial to this packaging. It is so cool. You just push from the ripple side, push out, and it slides out. And it's definitely not practical. I get that part. But it is just so cool. It's a pleasure to display in my makeup gradient cases over there. Putting the makeup on is an experience, and packaging is a big part of that experience, and I hope I've conveyed to you which palettes I think offer that experience the most effectively, and those who could learn to possibly evolve their packaging to take the best of what the various packaging options have to offer and deliver us, the consumer, a better experience. Thank you for listening today. I would love to hear what you have to say down below. And if you like this kind of content, please consider giving it a thumbs up. And if you like the content overall on this channel, I would love if you would consider subscribing. Thank you for your time today. I appreciate the eyeballs, and take care. Bye now.